The uncle of a 4-year-old girl, who was found alive after 2 days missing in bushland, has described the family's relief that she was located by search parties. Key points. Shayla Phillips' uncle, Tyrone Page, says it has been an overwhelming and hectic 48 hours for the family. Shayla Phillips' uncle, Tyrone Page, says it has been an overwhelming and hectic 48 hours for the family. SES search crews were heard cheering when Shayla was found in bushland on the Tasman Peninsula. Says search crews were heard cheering when Shayla was found in bushland on the Tasman Peninsula. Bushwalker Dan Broun says it is easy to get lost in such terrain, and the mild weather has been on the 4-year-old side. Tyron Page was waiting outside the Royal Hobart Hospital last night when Shayla Phillips was brought in by ambulance for medical assessment. Mr. Page was overcome by emotion when speaking about the experience. It was the hardest 48 hours of the whole family's life, to be honest. It's been hectic, he said. I've spoken to her mum. I've seen video of Shayla, she was asleep, she's okay. It's hard to thank everyone, each and individually, who has been down there on the peninsula. It's overwhelming. Family photo of 4-year-old girl Shayla Phillips in a fairy outfit taken last year. All the support, everyone who has been there, the SES, police from Victoria, on behalf of me and the family, we can't thank everyone enough. We're relieved. We had faith. We didn't stop believing. We knew she was coming home. We had to. We knew she was coming home, and she's home. Mr. Page was yet to visit Shayla in hospital. She's got a few scratches and bruises. She's a tough cookie, he said. The family's relief was shared by the searchers, the Tasman Peninsula community, and people around Australia. As the news spread that Shayla had been found, SES search crews were heard cheering. Shayla's uncle, Tyron Page, gives the thumbs up after his niece was found. It's a phenomenal feeling, like everyone was giving themselves pats on the back and cheering and clapping when they came back out of the bush. It's amazing after this time, SES's Mark Dance said. We've been here for 3 days. We've had in excess of 150 SES volunteers going, like 24 hours, around the clock. So to have this outcome is amazing. Vicky Skeggs from the local Country Women's Association, which had been on hand to help feed emergency crews, said there was much relief in their hall. Like everyone else, our hearts were bursting, and everyone was so relieved. It was the outcome everyone was hoping for, she said. CWA's Marion Spalding and Vicky Skeggs say there was much jubilation in Stormley at the news of Shayla's rescue. Concern grew for Shayla's well-being had been growing the longer it took to find her, especially given how remote the area is. Experienced bushwalker and nature photographer Dan Broun said the terrain of the Tasman Peninsula is varied, ranging from wet gullies and rainforest right through to dry open eucalypt forest. Relief and smiles after 4-year-old Shayla Phillips was found by an SES ground crew. I imagine where Shayla was, it would have been a lot more dense, like a dense understory of tea tree scrub, and that sort of stuff, mixed under, perhaps, a taller forest of eucalypt, he said. The dense scrub actually helps things. If it's not wet, it's going to help her, because she could basically burrow in underneath it. It's like a big green, furry blanket. Shayla was found in Bushhorn near Halls Road, about 1 kilometre from her home on Stormley Road. Temperatures in the area reached around 11 degrees Celsius both nights, which Mr. Brown said was warmer than usual for March. We've had a really mild autumn, generally, so normally this time of year we could be getting down to 0. She was really lucky with the weather. If she had sub-zero, even 0 overnight, or if she had gotten herself wet, then she could have got hypothermic quite easily. Mr. Brown said anyone can get lost really easily. The undulating terrain, you can walk for 5 minutes off a track and get yourself into all sorts of trouble, particularly if the weather conditions aren't friendly, he said. Police revisited several areas of bushland during the search at Stormley. While snakes and giant spiders are usually thought of as the biggest dangers in Tasmania's wilderness, Mr. Brown said it is actually the small things that pose the biggest threat. It's quite dry. It's perfect and country, he said. So, potentially, she could have suffered quite a few ant bites. Jack jumpers are a type of bull ant. So for a little girl, jack jumpers would actually be the worst thing she would come across, because snakes are pretty shy, they'll get out of your way.